You have a date
Cool.
on
They don't have-
October, right?
All the
Coming
time.
right up.
Yeah,
Is
so
that not-
so this Friday is our
map.
MAC, conference and listening, where all
Is there
the,
what?
it's the MAC meeting, it's the conference where all the career tech kids. It's our service day, so we're supposed to go to these and do our updates and all of our stuff.
So it's not a student then?
No, this Friday's not a student day, the 10th, yeah. But you guys don't have school though, there's no school here on Friday, right? It's the teachers work Friday. Yeah, so that's just.
But isn't it
just for us.
hunting day?
But that is like on the tour, because I was asking this, and making their kids go this Friday, because they're doing in the 24th off, because amazing. It's like you, so they're not, they're not.
So honestly, I think I should.
So you have that Friday, that extra day they extended it. So you do.
We, I don't have.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have,
So you're using, so you're just.
Not till 6.
Oh. So because last year was just a male student.
do you remember seeing with, program? So it's the 22nd.
Oh, that's
So I was sweating,
bad.
running across.
It's a Friday, right?
I was
But
like,
it-
oh, it's 24:28.
Oh.
Time. Plenty of time. Uncomfortably early one.
17th is October, 17th is Friday, so.
Oh, wait, oh,
That's okay.
Thank you.
Oh, the reason why I know that is because the 23rd and the 24th, we're gonna be down at.
Angela. Oh, that's right. You want to go back.
Yeah.
She got it.
Right.
And the 17th, I leave.
You like my
Personal days, I'm in
I do.
17th.
I always admire it. You know that? Yeah. It's the color.
So I have the days of October, because I've gotta be like getting a personal, yes, because I've got took personal days to go on my grandson's first family.
Oh, really?
Yeah, going to North Carolina.
Yep. Really?
Yes, he's not, he is 8 months, he'll be 9 months.
Yeah, the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We don't have, adjustments to the agenda?
Yes, we won't be doing the, fourth executive session.
Public comment, the school and board endorses the concept that community participation in the affairs of the school is essential to improve the quality of education for its students. To be eligible to address the board, an individual should reside within the school unit, be an employee of the school unit, or be invited by the board or superintendent to speak. The board shall give due attention to comments and contributions from the audience, but shall not be expected to respond or take action immediately. Audience inquiries other than simple questions shall be referred to the superintendent, who shall investigate, consider the matter, and report to the citizens and to the board. If the board action is indicated, the item may be included in the agenda for a subsequent meeting. Comments will be heard for no longer than 3 minutes per person. Do you have any comments? Public comment? Seeing it there, seeing none. Approval of minutes, can I have a motion?
I move to approve the minutes of the school board meeting September 9th and September 25th, 2025, barring any errors or omissions.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor? 5-0. Okay. Motion,
I'd like to make a motion to direct the superintendent of schools to authorize payment by the town treasurer to each party listed herein, the sum set against each name contained in the following school payroll warrants. September 25th, 2025, PR 26-7, $144,399.52. PR 26-7D, $80,035.51. Main PERS 26-8, $33,539.93. Main PERS 26-9, $257.18. Main PERS 26-10, $8,690.20. Main PERS 26-11, $161.40. On October 9th, 2025, PR 26-8, $145,920.99. PR 26-8D, $80,606.16.
Second. Me.
I won't argue with that. Any discussion? All in favor? 5-0. Payable warrants.
Motion to direct the superintendent of schools to authorize payment by the town treasurer to each party listed herein, the sum set against each name contained in the following school payable warrants. September 25th, 2025, AP 26-9, $24,659.33, AP 26-10, $165,158.22, SA 26-5, student activity, $3,217.06, October 9th, 2025, AP 26-11, $76,530.34, SA 26-6, student activity, $2,750.09.
Second.
You afraid to second now? Don't be afraid.
98. Any discussion?
I have one question. I notice there's no 25 anymore. Are those all cleaned out 100% or?
They are, as long as none come in that we're missing,
Okay,
we think we're done. We're done. Yeah.
All in favor? 5-0. Notification of employment. I can just read that.
Yes.
Yeah. Christian Harmon, junior class advisor, year 2, step 2, $700. Jesse Morrison, sophomore class advisor, year 2, step 2, $500. And updates regarding
So on Monday, September 15th, Drummond Woodsum held their annual legislative update. And it's always right around that same time because the laws go into the effect, like within a week or so after. So this year, what was a law on September 23rd, a Tuesday, may or may not have been changed by September 24th, a Wednesday. So it was an excellent workshop, like it always is. And I just thought it would be interesting for you to have some sense of how comprehensive, the breadth of the laws that their legislature deals with. So I just was gonna tell you a few of them. And again, the big deal here is that on the 23rd, it may or may not have been law, but on the 24th, it had changed. So there's everything from public records. So making requests, remember how we've talked a couple of times this year about some of the FOIA requests. They continue to make different rules around some of those things. An interesting one is on temperature of school buildings. And as we sit here a little bit hot, it's one of those things that they're actually really considering here in the state of Maine, looking at some of what airflow is, what appropriate temperature is. It's also creating a lot of chatter around what does that mean for athletics. So if it's hot in the spring and they go outside to play baseball, softball, or right now to go out to play hockey or football, do those things get considered in conversation about like dew points and wind? So there's all of those things. Right now they're getting a study together. We don't have any definite information on that. They're getting a study together. School construction has I've also given you a few updates, I guess, on this over the year. They have X amount of money. They have way more projects. There's like 150 projects submitted for consideration. They're thinking they're going to be able to fund like the top 3. So they're looking at how to fund some of those, looking to see if the bond structure is going to look different or not. There's conversation about starting times particularly for secondary level. And that's an age-old topic as well. They've gone back and forth on the research on what's healthy or normal for that age kids, and that has actually come out again for study. Again, that one's a study. Unallocated balances, when COVID hit, they took the 5% carryover that we could have in our budget and moved it to 9 because there was all of the federal money out there. Schools were spending a little bit less. It all looked different. They're now this year on the 24th of September, they retained the 9%, which is what they gave us at COVID time. So that was one change. Ventilation we talked about. Essential programs and services, so our funding formula. So the funding formula, again, has been looked at for multiple times to look at disadvantaged communities, to look at free and reduced, to look at special ed, to decide how to add in homeless. They're looking to see how to really support the public schools, rural and urban, and get the money in the right places. Every time they think they have a formula, something goes sideways with it, and they realize that the money is not necessarily being funneled in the right place. So that was not a law change. It is just a continued study, and they're hoping to get to the point where they can have a new formula, but they don't have it yet. Code of conduct for student rights and best practice. They have put some new things in play for looking at code of conduct. A number of years ago, under the title money, all school systems had to have a code of conduct. Now they're looking at how to create a proactive approach that goes along with the code of conduct, and that did become law as well. So we'll be tasked with looking to see how we can combine our code of conduct with proactive plans. Adopting seizure action plans, kind of like the concussion protocols. We're now looking at seizure action plans, and that as well went into effect on September 24th. So they will offer some guidance on what that planning process needs to look like. Homeless students, a year ago, they piloted a program where every school got $750 in order to support homeless situation, like whatever that was. They kind of really opened the gates on what would qualify. They found during the pilot session that the $750 was useful. It benefited families. So now the state of Maine put up $125,000 from the DOE. The feds put up another $125,000, making it $250,000 to go through our whole state, because they felt like the pilot program worked. And now, so this money will now be allocated out through our grant process. So there'll be the normal procedures on who needs what and how we record that and how we report that. But that went into play on the 24th. Diplomas. So there was a change on, again, on the 24th, looking at what is considered educational disruption. During COVID time, they put in some new rules that said that they gave us a whole list of things that equal education disruption. They're now saying that because of a variety of reasons, 10% of the school days, if a student is absent 10% of the school days, that creates a disruption, and they're pulling away from the idea that it has to be 10 days in a row, or it has to be identified as some particular thing. Because as you know, there's a lot of other things that keep kids out of school. And so now they're trying to look at some of that. They've looked at the normal things where homelessness and hospitalization, but now they're looking at things like housing disruption and changing what some of the rules are in order to get a DOE diploma. Understanding that a DOE diploma is a lower threshold than Stearns diploma. Then because we all take that lower bar and then add whatever works for our districts, whatever you have that currently exists here. Cell phone use, September 24th on that Wednesday. We now have to adopt a cell phone policy. Our policy committee will be meeting soon and we will take a look at what MSMA has put out, for us to consider. As with all policies, we can add more, we just can't have less from what their threshold is of what this, policy looks like. And that went into play on the 24th as well. Restraint and seclusion, this is a good one to take note that on September 23rd, some of these rules didn't exist. On September 24th, they did. What they did is they took out one critical word and it's voluntary. We've all, if in public school, particularly with littles, we do an escort. We put a hand on a back, hand on a shoulder, and we kind of like coax people along, right? So on the 23rd, that would have needed some paperwork. On the 24th, it doesn't. So they found that all over the state of Maine, I don't know if it was broader than the state of Maine, that that word voluntary really created a lot of issues. Because a lot of times if you need to coach a child, escort a child, voluntary is not really the word that works. So that word came out on the 24th of September. There's a lot of things here. Anybody is welcome to any of these. It was very interesting. Earned paid leave. There's a lot of talk about earned paid leave. We all know that we've been contributing since last year in January, so it goes into play in May. They're feeling like it is, shock surprise, gonna be underfunded. So the money that they've collected from January till now, or January till the time when the first people can claim, they're feeling it's gonna be underfunded. So they asked us to bring back information to our business offices that say, do not be late on a payment, because they have put into play on the 24th of September, fines of $100 a day and 1% of everything that was due for the quarter. And they said, to expect that they will collect on those fines, because again, the program was estimated short and it's been underfunded. They've also put in some rules with that on, they're expecting that there'll be a flood of people because the rules aren't as clear as like with workman's comp or with unemployment, things like that, because they're kind of developing it, right? And so it all depends. The example they used for us was if you have somebody who is taking maternity leave and they need to start in January versus somebody who has maternity leave and theirs starts in May, the difference on the amount of time those two people will get off paid is astronomical, like 8 weeks paid time.
Yeah.
So they said they haven't figured out how they're going to like navigate that. He used maternity leave because those are clear and easy, but for all the other reasons, like there's a lot of decision making that they haven't really decided how they're going to make it. So his point there was stay tuned. There's a study, they put together a study again for September 24th to look at the protection of paid family and medical leave benefit program. In that, they're looking to see how to more fully vet or organize how they want this program to look. Clearly, there was an idea on what it would do, and they were talking about the size of a business that's required to do it. But it has, I guess as time has gone on, they have decided that there's more things they didn't anticipate or think about. So they also have a study in on that one. There is a study for student teacher compensation. In the way of the world, a lot of times if you pay to student teach, pay for your credits, and then you go student teach and you can't get any income, you can't get any compensation, even if it's something that you've been doing. They are looking at a program in order to, if you're student teaching and you have familiarity with your school, then there's a possibility you'll be able to be paid because of the teacher shortage. So that's one thing that they're looking at doing, which should be good for us. Maine Public Retirement is looking at some penalties as well. This is a study And they're looking for main PERS. Main PERS has gone through, again, since COVID, a lot of school systems have changed, programs, like computer programs, and there's been some lag in reporting of that. So they've put into place a study in order to make sure that the retirements are being put in. And again, they're also looking at penalties. Maine PERS has had penalties, but not collected on penalties. So there's a couple, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, related. One of the rules here, just says it's a cleanup. This change seems like, largely aimed at cleaning up language of the law. They do not appear to make any major change to the benefits, and again, that's still going on, the retirement system. For food service, they're looking at identifying what a congregate, meal is. Again, with COVID, they had to change some of the rules on what we could have as a claimable, reimbursable meal. And so they're now looking at what the congregate, meal means. No decision on it, just looking at it. Outdoor education has a bill for grades 4 through 8 in our state, and they're calling it, it has to do with the parameters of what the school can offer and what credits or what content you can teach. They're not saying you have to have some outdoor ed, but along with like recess and gross motor activity, they're looking at how much time kiddos are outdoors. This is a study, and it is to look at the health and wellness of students and what learning opportunities are outdoors for folks, kiddos. Believe it or not, there's a work group that's been put together to look at Maine learning results, like we've never done that before, right? I mean, every so often they look at Maine learning results, so they are doing that again. We'll see what that looks like. Looks like there's gonna be some changes in some school counselor information as far as like helping more people get into school counseling, so looking at supporting them by doing some loan payback. They are convening a stakeholder group to improve high school graduation rates and remove policies related to graduation rate data. This was largely not defined on why they want to remove the data. We're all talking about increasing attendance, having students have more opportunity to be successful. But he never did get around to telling us why part of this says to get rid of some of the data. I'm not sure what the benefit would be there. And that was that. Along with that, just recently, October 3rd, there is some public comment out for chapter 115 for the credentialing of education personnel. And so this isn't anything that's in right now, but in looking for the information, they're looking at the fact that there's a shortage of teachers, food service, anybody who's certified, anybody who has a certificate to work in public education. So they were offering some open comment times. But the thing that really struck me here is they're really significantly changing things. Changing ed tech certificates to have ed tech 1, 2, 3, and then emergency ed tech. I mean, that's entirely something I'm not familiar with. Conditional certificates that are 3 years and non-renewable are now looking at perhaps being renewable. Looking at athletic directors, a couple of years ago, they put in the new rules so that a lot of the athletic directors, they wouldn't allow them to be grandfathered in. They had particular courses they had to take. Now they're grandfathering some in and having them take a couple of specific courses. So they've looked at special ed at the federal level. Special ed couldn't be have emergency certificates, and they're now looking at a portfolio pathway option. So this is very comprehensive, looking at all kinds of the certifications that we have, and this just came out and they're taking comment on it now. So I thought that has happened since this Drummond Woodson meeting. That's the law update. Thought it was really interesting, and I think one thing that it shows is the vast view of the things that public schools manage and deal with. It's not a classroom teacher, it's not an ed tech, it's not phys ed, it's not math, it's just such a breadth of things that happen.
Thank you, Dr. Lane.
You're welcome.
Discussion regarding fall conference proposed resolutions. Gonna have that. Rachel, did you know that? Is that the Saturday thing?
Yeah. So,
What day is the 18th?
yeah.
Yeah.
that was
Are you gonna be
Um,
on?
Oh,
Yeah.
Saturday.
She's gonna be on like vacation with her
I'm-
grandbaby.
yeah, so I don't
I-
have access to a computer to do that.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll be
Julie and
here.
I chatted, so
I'll
I
just
owe
wait.
you. Got it, yeah.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Zoom is my life.
So this.
Enjoy your time.
Thank you.
So this part, Julie, if you're going to do this part of today would be looking at these proposed resolutions and seeing the way that the board is interested in you representing Millinocket.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I believe everybody has had these. I don't know if there's any particular ones that stand out to you. If you want to go through starting at the first, Julie, how is it best for you to go? I think we went through it one by one last year, didn't we?
Yeah, fairly, I mean, like, so we could,
Well,
make
yeah.
sure everybody's in the know, but yeah.
Yep,
We,
okay.
yeah, did one by one. What was I gonna say? Hold on, give me a second.
Can everybody find the packet? Okay. So Julie, go at whatever pace you want to get the information that you need.
Okay. So. We're not. The new proposed resolutions. Is everybody like, does anybody have questions on that? Tax policy, revenue sources to fund public schools should be raised in a fair and equitable manner based on taxpayer ability to pay. Immigrant students is particularly forefront. Do you know what I mean? Like, maintaining a safe and secure learning environment for all students, staff and visitors. That's something like, obviously, I mean, I think it goes without saying for me and everybody in this room mostly, that I'm gonna lean pretty heavily on that if there's discussion, and there will be.
And there will be.
There will be discussion on
There
that.
will
There's almost never, because it takes, people 30, 45 minutes to figure out how their cameras work first. So you have to wait for a minute, and then it's usually like da 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 da, if it's stuff that is just basically self-explanatory when we're rewriting wording, which is a lot of the edits. But immigrant students are gonna be high on the length of time spent
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
So that's something that we'll need to pay super, super close attention to. There's a resolution for administrator evaluation and effectiveness, which sort of fleshes out, like it's amended. It's recommended for deletion, the longer version that was last amended in 1999. Parenting education, which was really, really, really vague about like what services are offered to the parenting community and all of that stuff. That's recommended for deletion. Citing of school construction. I think most of the things that are recommended for deletion are also in the things that are either edited or added. A lot of the things that are in edits, religious recognition eliminates the word interference. So it just goes from religious recognition, from religious interference recognition to religious recognition. And adds the word calendars and strikes the word holy days and adds the practices of all recognized religion so that there are no ways to mince words when it comes to that. Advertising in the schools is amended just to advertising. So yeah, minimum nutrition standards, all of that stuff stays the same. Shouldn't advertise unless it meets the standards of what we are intending to.
Julie, would it make
Serve.
sense for us to do
We can do whatever you want.
the proposed resolutions? There's 3 of them on the front page. We should probably vote for those.
Do you want
And then
to?
go on to the next section, and
Yeah,
I would
I
say
don't
do
care.
them by each, we were talking about the changes and things.
Mhm.
just do each one and trying to remember.
Everything
all
that's
the
gone
way
on.
back.
Okay. Back to page 1. So the the role of the US Department of Education is new proposed resolution. The Maine School Board Association fundamentally supports the original mission of the United States Department of Education to promote student achievement and preparation for global competitiveness by fostering educational excellence and ensuring equal access. MSBA opposes any effort that reduces federal funding to Maine schools. Any such change would disproportionately harm rural students, those with disabilities, and children from economically disadvantaged communities. Obviously, rationale behind this is students in Maine and across the country have faced uncertainty around federal funding, to say the least. Certain federal funds have already been withheld, creating budget challenges. Other proposals from the federal government would effectively restructure many funding streams and reduce funding from current levels. These grants serve a valuable purpose, helping to fund positions such as math and reading coaches, interventionists, guidance counselors, and before and after school activities, all of which are extremely important to, as we know, the rural school system, especially. Any cuts will result in loss of programming and or increases in school budgets and therefore tax amounts. Do you want to vote one
I think we should vote now.
by one?
I support this one.
Same.
That's good.
Yep. Yay.
Okay,
I don't know that you need to.
read the whole thing.
Um,
I know, I'm like, okay, what do you want me to
If
do?
you
You want
want
me to
to.
start from the beginning? Read the whole thing?
You don't have to do rationale.
I don't need to do the rationale, because
No.
you guys already have the rationale. Perfect. We're all rational human beings, aren't we? Yes. Just like- The Maine School Boards Association believes revenue sources to fund public schools should be raised in a fair and equitable manner, as I said before, based on taxpayer ability to pay. So yeah,
I think one of these is the rural that we get 80, whatever,
Right.
86% or whatever. Instead of 100%, where Cape Elizabeth can afford it a lot more than.
And they get-
Millinocket,
right.
Maine.
yes.
And that is part of what the prior legislation is looking at. I mean, they know it's not balanced well. So they should continue to work on it.
I think so too.
Yeah, I
Oh,
support that.
yes. I turn this off, I didn't even know I had it.
So is that 5 yeses?
Yeah.
Yeah. Immigrant students committing, School Board Association is committed to maintaining a safe and secure learning environment for all students, staff, and visitors, and believes that regardless of their immigration status, no student should be denied a free public education. Full support for me.
too.
Yeah. 5 yes?
Yes.
Did that come into play with our foreign students if we start taking them again?
We have entirely different set of rules.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It does say visitors, so
Yeah.
any, I say that's a pretty broad term.
yeah.
Okay, resolutions recommended for deletion. So they're deleting administrator evaluation and effectiveness, parenting education, citing of school construction. The vast majority of these, by the way, everybody are because they're rewriting them or putting in the new standards,
You're
not
not
that
leaving
they're
them.
actually
Right.
deleting them.
Right.
Teachers as legislators, Social Security repeal of GPO and WEP. Those are for deletion. And you guys look, like I just said, we've looked forward and seen that most of this is just
Yeah.
rewording or replacement. Editing, religious interference recognition, take out the interference, change holy days to the practices of, and change school board should require administrators versus to encourage administrators to consider the significance of the practices of all recognized religions, and adds the word calendars. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes?
I see nods.
Okay.
I think it's easier.
Yes,
Somebody
support.
doesn't just speak up and say it.
Support. Okay, so advertising in the schools just goes down to advertising, basically takes out advertising in schools in any part of the place and leaves the rest as it is with minimum nutrition standards and all of that stuff. It just takes basically the word in schools out of
Right.
advertising, so. Support. Everybody?
Yep.
It's-
Board fiduciary responsibility, so. Taking out the phrase, the Maine School Boards Association believes that, and adding the phrase by law. Every school board has a fiduciary responsibility in its oversight of the school unit's finances. And then we add the Maine School Board Association piece at the second sentence. urges local boards to adopt policies that require the superintendent in consultation, blah, 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 all that stays the same. Striking out board or its finance committee and changing it to district's finance committee and the board. So just rewording. Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Business employment of students, the Maine School Boards Association reminds local school boards of the statute, and we strike out which restricts and adds regarding employment of students during the school year. Literally the only edit in that one. Okay, I'm gonna look at Dawn for the thumbs up at this point. AI in schools, this will be a large, it was last year as well. This basically, the whole thing stays the same. There was already a pretty, like that they had come up with last year that was added in. And then they added in the appropriate use sentence, appropriate use and awareness of the potential dangers of AI will guide a student so that we're putting more emphasis on well, responsible internet citizens,
Right.
right? Super, super, super important, the responsible.
I bet you'll spend a lot of time on that.
Yes, indeed. I actually have
Any
one of those
issues with
certifications,
what-
one of those little certificates hanging on my fridge right now.
Kelly, has there been any issues where AI, has somebody done their homework through AI? And they've got caught or?
Yes.
Okay.
There's become pretty, like, especially when it comes to like English homework and
Yeah,
things
that's
like that,
something.
there are some pretty telltale signs when you're using ChatGPT to write something, especially the dashes. If you're like, rather than parentheses, if you're using dash space and then you're saying your thing. It's generally, I mean, like, especially a lot of that, people don't write like that, not normally.
I think they have programs that look at those papers when they
They
submit
do.
it also.
They do,
Yeah.
yes, they
They make
do.
use
Things are
of
getting
that.
pretty cray out there, though, I would say.
And
Keep
the staff
vigilance.
are pretty savvy with it. I know, Mr. Brown was telling me a story about a
Yeah.
student who did, with the tuna fish in there. So he wrote a story and then Mr. Brown told him to put something in it and he put in like the word can of tuna fish or something and it like rewrote the story around it. And he's like, there was no way that was this kid's writing. So I mean, they're in math, they're, yeah, but we do need to try and help everybody, staff use AI for, assisting them so they don't have to work so hard and have students realize how they can use it as a tool,
Photography and video are the same sort of way. Like, that's why it's important for like images to be linked to where your source material is and things
Yeah.
nowadays. Because instead of looking at photos and saying, I wonder if this is, or like, oh, that's real, but maybe it might be. I look for things that are like, like, okay, show me the AI in that photo. Like,
Right.
oh, that person has an extra pinky. Every single time. So anyway, eyes and hands, everyone, eyes and hands, eyes and hands.
I saw one similar then.
Student right conduct, basically, instead of just each school year so that students understand their rights, students, parents, and guardians have been added. And the word "and guardians" was added to students and parents in the last sentence, that the student handbook should be disseminated to students, parents, and guardians. Copyright. I assume we all support this. This was the deletion of beyond printed material to include off-the-air tapes, live performances, and other electronic media. They've changed it to streaming content finally. So I feel like that's fine. That's relevant.
Probably.
Okay, moving on. So DOE workshop scheduling has just changed to Maine Department of Education workshop scheduling. And most times, at other times than during school hours, changed to outside of instructional time to make it more concise and specific. Yes?
Yes.
Yep. Binding arbitration. Basically, let's see, nothing was stricken. Not decided by locally elected school boards, not outside arbitrators who have no stake in, and then added or knowledge of the added school administrative unit and community.
And we do that anyway, I think.
basically, yeah. And unless you, like, I mean,
I can't imagine how you don't
everything
do it,
outside is a
honestly.
tool,
Yeah.
like auditors' tools, not
Right,
inside.
right.
You know what I mean? Board teacher relations, so rewrites to this. The rewrite, it actually, we heard this from Heather, like a couple months ago when they started Voice of the Educator. This is basically just the
Yeah.
amendment to, or the rewrite to that policy to include fully sports the statutory meet and consult requirements contained within teacher contracts. Also maintaining board authority to make changes to education policy, and boards should create more avenues for teachers to share their voices, which we are already on top of because our teachers were proactive and awesome like they usually are. So that replaces board teacher relations from prior, which was a little wordier and longer. And also the create more avenues to provide teachers' voice was a lot more vague than it is now and a lot less strongly suggested. Good with that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. School board member email accounts. So basically a district system of email accounts by which administrators and publics can communicate with school board members, which we have. This replaces this much shorter policy of district sponsored email accounts. There's a lot more like nuance to what can and can't be used for, what's public information, what's, all of that stuff. And I think that's good because that was really, really unclear there. Everybody?
Good.
Mhm.
Facilities. So the rewrite basically just adds the word administrative to school units. And the sentence at the end, use of facilities needs to be coordinated with school administration to avoid conflicts with school activities. The board should adopt policies that cover public use of school facilities, which we do and go over all the time.
Correct.
So it replaces the previous facilities policy. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. School curricula. Basically, it's a rewrite of the entire thing, but nothing that really,
More clear.
yeah, it's just more clear. It basically goes from curricula which are designed to present a realistic view of the contributions to curricula which integrate vast human experiences, historically marginalized groups, generation of questions, collection, analysis. Basically, thoughtful and critical thinking is fleshed out in this and consideration for human experience in general. Support?
Yes.
Values of education or values education adds which include but are not limited to respect, compassion, responsibility, acceptance, trust, collaboration, perseverance, curiosity, accountability, growth mindset, and empathy, and takes out the MSBA supports activities that facilitate the study of US Foundation documents and blah, blah, blah. Strike that out. So yeah, and that just replaces the less specific values education. It's the same thing, just flushes out the stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Accountability. School board self-evaluation. I like this one because I like that they keep sort of like they keep the part in there that we should adopt kind of a self-evaluation process, which like exactly. It's what's already in the works, but it's really, really important to have a if there's a self-evaluation process required of other folks, there should be some reflection.
Right.
It helps prompt too, get the wheels going. Anyway, so basically all that was added, effectiveness of their governance policies, processes, and board norms adopted in the pursuit of positive student outcomes. Which wasn't in there before, so yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Learning support. Added, students who experience learning loss because of summer vacation, illness, or prolonged absence, whatever the cause, should be supported in their efforts to recover. This goes along with your the laws changing.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah, so this kind of just, we've already gone over this.
Yeah.
Everybody good?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, goodness gracious. A packet and a half. Consolidation unification, there will be a lot that comes along with this one as well, even though we tend to think that we live in a bubble with this. This is something that is discussed at length every single time if it comes up. So basically adds, instead of supports, continues to support voluntary school administrative unit consolidation. And adds with local voter approval. Also adds continues to oppose mandatory merging of school administration units. Rather than just opposing, obviously, because we've moved on into times of continuing to oppose, I don't know. And everything else is the same. It also takes out all the bullet points. That was a long, and somehow still vague.
And I think it was like their opinion and it. wasn't
Yeah,
really-
no, it wasn't, yeah, it wasn't awesome. So
Yeah,
now it's
right.
much, much better, I think. Yes?
Mhm.
Mm, 3B1, which had been technology, oh, it had been 4.11, so they're changing not only the name, but the number in which it's cataloged. Technology in the classroom has been replaced with technology for education. So federal and state initiatives to provide internet access and technology for education. So the internet access part and the for education part are new. Technology in schools is gone. Technology is essential for enhancing learning by providing students with access to vast resources, interactive tools, and personalized educational experiences. Fosters critical thinking, collaboration, and problem-solving skills while preparing students for a technology-driven world. By integrating digital tools, this can create engaging lessons, support diverse learning styles, and bridge gaps in education, ensuring that all students have the opportunities to succeed in a modern workforce. This is a lot longer than the, before it had said that takes into account the dynamic nature of the computer industry. So we've moved into more modern times with that too. I don't know if anybody saw the DOS version of computers that I just saw when I read it. Funding of universal school meals is replaces the funding of Universal School Meals Act of 2021. So basically it just pares it down, recognizing the impact adequate to nutrition on a child's ability to learn. Maine school boards call upon Congress to pass an act to make breakfast lunch free for all children without adversely affecting federal funding to the state. Yes. Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Maximizing federal and state assistance through economically disadvantaged rates. It replaces free, loose, reduced lunch qualification. So it's just a larger version of the same thing with different acronyms for the different departments.
Yes.
Taxpayer dollars support public education. It added was MSBA opposes any effort such as vouchers or tax credits that would siphon off public resources to support any form of private education. If parents wish to send their children to private schools, basically it's their choice, but it's not, voucher or tax credit. No providing for that to happen, basically. Yes?
Mhm.
So this might be a place where you wanna just think twice, because the voucher system is something that does come up and it continually comes up. So if anybody has any
It's gonna be.
opinion on it, it's
unacceptable.
like Julie should know for, voting purposes.
Yes. Yes.
So there
So-
could be a move to make it the
There-
law.
There could be,
Nationally.
there could be, so
Very
if,
quickly.
so if we think no, then Julie should know that. If we think yes, that's fine, but it's, it is something that is considered year after year.
Right.
And it is a little bit different than some of these other things. So do we think we're in agreement that we do not support vouchers? Because that's what this is saying, is we do not.
I do not.
You do not, okay.
As far as we're talking no, that was gonna be a dumb question. Never.
Well, I
I
think,
think we have to follow federal law.
Right.
And right now, we don't support vouchers, but
right. But.
pretty much in the future, that law could change.
Yeah,
Not far off future.
Right, well, there's just always conversation, so like we do superintendent agreements, and there's a lot of legislation around that on the local level. And looking at changing some of that, but this is a little bit different, because this would be saying, okay, if Julie lives in Millinocket, but wants to go to school in Old Town. Will there be a voucher which will take her money there, that's for her education?
Right,
Where now it could be a superintendent agreement and it's like, well, no, we have room in our fifth grade class. We'll take Julie in our fifth grade class. So it's got a slight little nuance to
Mhm.
it.
mhm.
I think we can only vote on what's in front of us right
Yeah.
now.
Oh, I
Yeah,
agree.
for
I
sure.
agree. I'm just
This
saying,
is-
just make sure that we understand which way we're reading that.
Right,
Again,
so it'll
any-
come out with MSBA opposes any effort such as vouchers or tax credits that would siphon off public school. It used to be MSBA opposes siphoning off public resources, and now
Right,
it's very specific to include the language of tax credits and vouchers.
right.
And again, the legislature doesn't have to agree to any of these. things
Right,
they put
this is,
forward.
right, yes,
That's just
Anybody
what we're
can just read
proposing.
it.
So we support that.
yes, so we do support that. Okay, good, good. I'm like, no, I don't know if I want to say no to that.
No,
Okay,
well,
we do
yeah,
support.
exactly.
Okay. Probationary employment period goes all the way down from a big paragraph to basically supports the return to a 3-year probationary employment period prior to placement of a teacher on continuing contract. Before it was a whole nuanced thing of Maine proposes that individuals employed as teachers who have less than 3 years teaching experience be given the opportunity to have up to 3 one-year probationary contracts prior to the making of a determination on granting continuing contract status. Which, I mean, what do you think? Like,
Yeah.
as far as,
I support
Yeah,
that.
But it doesn't say anything that if we don't wanna continue with a certain teacher. That's up to the superintendent to decide, right?
right,
Well, within, whatever the probationary period is.
So it's a 3-year
So
probation.
so I was just looking at this too. So this was last amended in 1998
right,
and now in 2025.
they want to return it to
Quite a period of time.
yeah.
right?
So like, instead of going for the opportunity to have up to 3 one-year probationary terms versus a whole 3-year probationary term, probationary employment period before a permanent position. Thoughts?
So this almost could come with, if you have, somebody's here 2 years and leaves for a year, comes back, they get to start over.
As probationary.
Wow.
I guess this might have more than one angle to it though, because you could also have a teacher who may be doing well and we can give them a 30-year probationary just to like continue to grow. And, we have the authority to do that in concert with a plan.
Right,
I mean, this may be one that you'll have to get some information on.
I think I
When
want to
you're
see
there, what are
like,
people talking about?
what they're saying about
Yeah,
it,
like,
yes,
why
because
is this-
I'm not comfortable jumping into it with I don't think we should vote, I don't think we should vote
you have
on it
any
now.
information?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
It's the first I'm hearing of it right now, it's 2 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think 3 is too long.
I haven't heard anything about it.
I would also say it's interesting to have all this legislation and discussion of increasing pathways for the teacher shortage. And yet go back to a 3-year probationary seems
Does,
counterintuitive
It
to
does.
me personally.
I
But
agree.
I think that,
So Julie,
Yeah.
when you're listening to this one, maybe reference the DOE priority notice. That talks about credentialing of educators,
Okay.
because you're right, it definitely flies in the face of this.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
interesting.
it's not, it's pretty. It was interesting for me to read this, because
Yeah.
while it doesn't seem like it's like a drastic change, or there's a lot of, like back to the blah, 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 like
Yeah.
it's, the language is really like, that's fine. It's something worth,
It is, it'd be
I
interesting
want
to
to
hear
see
what
what
the,
everyone else is,
what the rationale is.
talking about. This is something that I'll probably open my big mouth about.
So the
No,
way. it is
I'm
right
just
now,
writing a
don't
question mark
support it.
here, yeah, okay, yep.
Okay. Professional development to support student achievement, was added. It did replace, to support learning results, so now the emphasis, basically, it's just rewritten for the emphasis to be more on the achievement of the student rather than the evaluation of the data and the school, like, you know what I mean? It's the language has changed to basically empower the student's future a little bit more, in my opinion, if we're gonna break it down. Yes,
Yes.
Yeah, I think-
rather than being reactive to learning results, being proactive to
Yeah.
student achievement.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Oh, sorry. The Maine Public Charter School Performance and Regulations replaces charter school law implementation. They took the bullet points out and they just added the concise, like, similar to other Maine public schools, data should be reviewed annually. Maine public charter schools to have this review completed by the Maine Charter School Commission, blah, 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 blah. But there's a lot of less of like, A is a determination of C, which is a determination of D, which, you know, they just kind of.
I think that what they did there is they really put the emphasis from charter schools being their own thing with their own rules to your own thing, doing it your own way. But we do want to collect data like we are for everybody.
Right,
else.
right. We need it for
Yeah.
things. Okay, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Shifting retirement costs, replaces the old shifting retirement cost, which was, shorter. Adds the sentence, we also oppose the shifting onto local districts, the unfunded liability portion of retirement costs for those enrolled in the state's teacher retirement plan.
That's what we say definitely.
Right, right.
Basically, the original one is still in there up until local property taxpayers.
So-
And then after that, everything is,
And so MSBA is actually recommending that we do vote for this one because it is better for us locally.
Okay.
local control of student transfers, replaces local control of student transfers prior, which was a lot longer with bullet points. Basically, they've taken the bullet points out of almost everything, which I will contradict in the next one where they add bullet points, but it's fine. Local control of student transfers, the Maine School Board Association strongly supports the position that a student transfer should be an annual local decision made by the two superintendents involved in a request.
I think you're
It
gonna,
takes out,
I think you're gonna have a lot of conversation on this
Yeah.
one. At the Penquist meeting here a couple of weeks ago, there was a lot of conversation on this. Because it is if you appeal, you can go to the main school board. And, you know, present your case, both the family and guardians and the school. And they're aligning pretty much with the parent and guardian, so the school people are beginning to say, well, why am I driving to Augusta, or why am I on Zoom for 4 hours? So the main school board has said they don't want to be in that position because they don't know. So they want to kick it back to the two districts to decide what is best for the kiddo, where the programs best support the students' needs, and have it become more two school decisions. So that's what this is. I anticipate you're gonna hear a lot about it.
for sure. Should I put a pin in it? Because we're gonna talk about it a bunch, or is everybody comfortable?
I think my opinion is I think local people do need to decide.
Mhm.
I think taking it to an outside group is not necessarily.
Mhm.
They're finding they don't have all the information, and so they're, I don't know.
I support.
Local's better than town. Town is better than a county. County is better than state. State is better than federal.
There you go.
So you bring it back home, I think the better it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
support
agree
that.
with this. So I'm not sure that was 5 though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Okay, school construction, that's where like the one that you saw deleted before was school construction sites. This adds just a whole lot more bullet points. Like, and fleshes out the whole thing.
I'm not sure where this one's gonna end up, because remember I told you like over a year ago, they had a committee. And the committee reported out a couple of weeks ago that they have not come to conclusions. So I'm not sure how this one will actually end.
Yeah.
For you, Julie.
It's really long and all of it is new, so I would
It is.
assume that there's gonna be a lot of paring down of like, well, that's not what this means. So,
That's right.
yeah, there'll be a lot of
Right.
discussion on school construction. I will keep you posted. I'll keep my eye on that a lot.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, replaces funding to support rebuilding infrastructure of local schools. And we are done.
Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
Have your snacks ready.
No, I need
Student
water.
Representative reports. We don't have a student here, but can you read that?
Right, yep.
Madison Carr Senior School Board Representative report. Fall fun night for middle school and high school students was 10-25. And the high school field hockey team hosted their Abby Fisk Memorial game on 10-4/25. The high school homecoming dance was Moonlight in Maui at 10-4/25.
We have a junior class representative now.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna do voice of the educator, and Louis DeFred, you don't have a report. Heather doesn't have anything. Miss O'Leary. O'Leary.
First off, I need to apologize because I made a mistake on the data. And all of the fifth grade data for IXL is wrong, so both math and reading. Didn't copy and paste as well as I thought it was.
So is this just fifth grade, Joanna?
Yes,
Okay.
so the
Math.
fifth grade math. The actual numbers of above grade level is 6%. At grade level is 22%, below grade level is 29%, and well below is 43%.
And that was on fall math 2025.
Yes.
Okay.
And then on the next page for the reading for the ELA, just the grade, 40%, 20, 20, 20. Sorry about that. So, we finished our IXL. This week we're doing our Main through the year assessments. Next week, we have the Scholastic Book Fair, so anybody that wants to come over, we'll have hours posted for when that's open to the public. And next Wednesday, the 15th, we are having our theme night, fall theme night for parents from 4 to 5. Please come. We had our first monthly assembly that we've been working on this year. It went very, very well. We have another one coming up October 30th. There was a group of us who did literacy professional development last year from January to June. We got our $5,000 grant money this week. And we purchased some phonics books for the teachers and Title I people and some professional development around literacy for everyone. Beth and I attended a conference last week on attendance, and I went over the my 4 pages of notes with the PBIS team today. We came up with some really great ideas of what we want to do moving forward to increase our student attendance. That's still an issue nationwide. Mr. Gaddis and I are meeting weekly just to keep touch base on how students are doing, what's going on with them. Then I have in there the math result, the science results for the last 3 years. And it shows that our scores keep going up. So in 2023, 22.5% of the students were at state expectation, and last year was 41.4%, that state expectation. So that's a great increase, and it's higher than what the state percentage is. And if you look at our IXL data, in kindergarten and math, 97% of our students are at or above grade level, 100% of our first graders, 74% of our second graders, 77% of our third graders, 49% of our fourth graders, and 28% of our fifth graders. So we're hoping with the new math and reading programs that we've put into place, we'll see that continually grow. And then with our ELA data, kindergarten 62% were at or above grade level, 70% for first grade, 43% for second grade, 70% for third, 68% for fourth, and 60% for fifth. The fourth graders completed this isn't in your notes, everything that's happened since then.
Fourth graders completed a unit on 9/11, and today they had a celebration where they invited people in their family who are in the medical field to come and have breakfast with them. And that was a big success. We're having bike safety lessons this Friday. We had it planned for a month now. Unfortunately, we had the accident last week. And it's the same person that came a couple of years ago to do bike safety. He's gonna also include about e-bikes and scooters, because we know that that's becoming a bigger and bigger issue.
What is that?
It's this Friday.
This Friday?
Yeah, he's gonna meet with each grade level throughout the day. Mrs. Leach is doing some new activities. In a couple of weeks. She'll be starting 2 to 3 week intervals of doing some activities from 7:30 to 7:50 every morning with kids from 3rd grade to 5th grade. They can sign up and do like tournaments of whatever activities she's teaching, anything from pickleball to regular sports to cornhole, those kinds of things, just to do some more physical activity. Yep. Everything, any questions?
I have one. Did we have any issues with internet while they were taking their exams?
No, we've never had trouble since I've been there. They
Good,
updated it the year before I came and it's been working perfectly.
that's good to hear.
Thank you. Oh, that's easy.
Miss Peavy is with her mom. She's having a medical issue, so she provided this for you to read.
Okay,
Okay.
Spirit Week, senior night on the last home football game, Spirit Week created by middle and high school student council. Fall fun night. Games on the football field as well as food in the gym. That was on 2nd of October. Organized and run student council advisors and students. Homecoming dance, Moonlight Maui, first annual from 7 to 10 p.m. Student council will DJ it. Or did,
Did DJ.
yeah, did. Officer Frank Vito, he's not here either, right?
No.
Building a rapport with students and staff and parents, events, attending games, fall fun night, etc., having positive interactions with parents and community members as well as students. Lockdown drills. He has been meeting with individual teachers about proper procedures. Proactive by building rapport with students. He already has positive relationships if anything serious happens. He's trying to keep the culture fun. At the same time, he was out at the corner of the Central and State Streets directing traffic and wearing the Minuteman costume. This is pretty cool. Classes have started back, bake sales and bottle drives. First celebration assembly will be held at the end of the month.
Today.
Like today.
It's been nice seeing the resource officer. I'm not gonna try to pronounce his last name. But I got to go to football games and he's out there and he's making himself. He's putting himself out there so the kids know him and the adults know him. I think that's what he's saying.
Awesome.
Should have added to my report that he did bus duty Friday after school. Sorry for him.
About first playoff game for football is a home game, and it will be held on Halloween night. We plan to have community member spectators bringing candy to pass out to the students and trick or treat around the track. I understand it's falling on the Friday the 13th this year. And this is the 666th one.
That is impossible.
I think it's very.
No, it'd be the 13th and 31st.
That's what I
same
heard,
time.
but I know it's.
I saw that.
Those
I'm
memes,
like,
they'll get
no.
you every time.
Yeah, no.
The memes, we gotta vet them.
Rumor propaganda. Nick Collins, Stearns Junior High School Assistant Principal and AD report. He's not here either.
You don't have to read it. They know.
Okay, I won't read that.
You don't have to
Mia
read
is
it.
here.
Me.
Who's here?
You don't read it.
Mia's here, I know.
He is here.
Hi, Mia.
Thank you for being here.
So in the month of September, our food service team served 6,435 breakfasts and 6,480 lunches. Participation numbers are up 7.8% for breakfast and 8.2% for lunch compared to last September, so.
Wow.
great. SY 25, we served 102,645 meals. So that's a lot of meals served last summer.
Six figures.
Yeah, add summer program on you and we're almost to 112.
That's amazing.
So
Wow.
it's a lot of food and a lot of bellies.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Our point of sale laptops and refrigerated merchandiser have been delivered or in use. It's amazing when you have the proper technology, how much easier things can go during the school day. We're working with Living Innovations to help provide job training opportunities within our program. We have our first training starting this Thursday, and they'll be with us 2 days a week for 3 hours a day. While they, gain some job experience. Also working with Chelsea, the ELO coordinator, to create a student, position to be able to come in and be paid and potentially also earn, credits for working in the kitchen. So that's pretty exciting. We had our first middle school nutrition advisory council on Friday. We had 18 kids come, which is great. Some pretty serious about it, others not so serious about it. But we did have some great conversations. I can see as we kind of move forward and get a little core group going, that's when we'll get the majority of the feedback that I'm looking for. So they would like pizza every day. They would like Hot Pockets and steak. In Bosco's also every day and some chicken nuggets too. So
Oh, yeah.
we have some work to do to kind of pull out.
I mean,
some
I
of
do.
those other ideas. And we also planted our first installment of vegetables for the hydroponic tower. So those sprouted over the weekend and I planted them this afternoon. So all the kids are pretty convinced it's a stand-up tanning bed. And it'll look even more so now that it is lit up, but we are actively growing food inside of it now, so that's pretty exciting.
How did the free cherry slushy tasting go? Did that happen a week ago?
That was for the grown-ups and the
know.
grown-ups did enjoy them.
They did?
Yes, they
Yeah,
did
yeah.
enjoy them, and we did just get our delivery of product in, so at the high school, middle school level, we'll have the 100% fruit juice slushies.
Yeah.
Starting next week, so that's exciting. We'll see how it shakes out, because they're not supposed to bring them up the stairs either. So it'll be a feeler as far as like capping when you can buy your last slushie.
How big are the cups?
They're only 12 ounces, so they're not a gigantor slushie, so they should be able to have their brain freeze moment. Lickety.
Move past it.
And is there just one flavor?
No, there is just peachy, pog, which is passion fruit, guava and orange, or orange and guava, give the pog, strawberry, a berry, and a just mango.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow,
so it's exciting.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
And I had one more update, with the government shutdown, we've been notified that our payments through October in the very least are secure.
Okay.
After October, we'll just see what happens. Any questions? No, okay. Nice to see everybody again.
I had a question for Miss Mary and it just kind of zoomed by me. Can I ask her a question now?
Sure.
Miss Mary, I know there was a question over in Granite about parents dropping off children and they weren't kind of doing it crosswalks and things. Was that addressed?
Yes, and we're still addressing it with some.
Well, a parent training thing.
Yes,
Okay, I just wanted to say, I thought that was quite a statement, concern. Thank you.
yes,
Thank you very much.
as they come up with.
All right, Dr. Jean.
All right, Joanna didn't mention in her report, but if you all know of when the PBIS celebrations are, I was having an IEP meeting and you could hear, like, we had to stop conversations because you could hear the kids so excited. Like, it was the most amazing thing ever. And so I think it's really important that board members go to those celebrations and see how excited. The PDD ended up running it. She was doing like a little skit. To see all of them just sitting on the floor. After COVID, some schools still aren't even doing that. So for them to have the behavior, the first month of school to all sit on the floor, it was just a really moving experience. So anyways, I didn't think about it until, I don't know, something else you said about best, I think was about PBI celebration, but you guys should all get invited to that, because it was really cool.
Katie
So-
will be doing all of.
If she do it, yeah, so you'll have to let them know when it is, because it was something that is a very good.
The next one at 9:15.
There you go, put it in your calendars, that was really good. He did a great job. So as far as for special ed, it's been really, a lot of conversations. With a lot of different groups, CDS, we are now having all of the, even like 3-year-olds in our area, being evaluated early on. So all of the meetings in the whole, tri-towns, I'm going to those meetings, and then we're having evaluations done very early. All of our pre-K students are already signed off and getting all of their services. So those services, we already have, specially designed instruction, so our special ed teachers are already meeting with the 4-year-olds. They're receiving speech already, their OT, any type of consultation, ed tech support. So early intervention is the key. So it is wonderful to see that we've been able to do that right from day one. And so we have been having discussions with the 3 superintendents about joining cohort 3. So you only have either cohort 3 or cohort 4 to be able to join. And all 3 superintendents throughout this month have put into the DOE that we want to join cohort 3, which means that all of the area would assume the responsibility of the 4-year-olds and then perhaps the 3-year-olds the next year. So that's just really exciting to see everybody coming together to offer support. So with that, we're also the 3 speech pathologists for all 3 districts, as well as the 2 occupational therapists, and the physical therapist we're sharing is the 1 person. So she's doing all 3 districts now. And so we are to cut down on some budget things, because we have to start testing students now that are 3 and 4. So we didn't have any of the testing protocols to be able to do it. So we've been working that if our district buys one protocol and then another district buys the other, then they're going to test students different days. So we're going to share all of the resources, which will cut down on all 3 having to have new evaluations as we're taking on the 3 and 4-year-olds. So that's been great for us to be able to see. And then we've also partnered with this month that we have a social worker, a clinical social worker, the one that we have here. In order to be able to have more support for her, we have all 3 districts, we have her on Tuesdays. And so by pooling our resources, then she will not contract with anybody else. And so she will also, because she has us for Tuesdays, she has a very extensive background in outdoor learning for at-risk students. So she's going to come and work with the Ascent Project and be able to meet students face to face. And then that telehealth, they'll at least have a person that they've met face to face. So we have her now Tuesdays. I presented this last night at the East Millinocket School Board meeting. And by the time I had a chance to even get home and open up emails, I did have a question of, is it only for special education students? And the answer to that is, within our multi-tiered systems of supports, there's other students that may not be special ed students that may need to have some social work clinical services. So I know that the school counselors sometimes will say, it's kind of above my realm, what I can do for counseling. And so if that's the case, then we have, like, I've created like a generic evaluation, like a consent for parents to sign. And so that social worker can then go forward, do an evaluation to see if school-based services are necessary for students too. So that's a great thing that we're pulling together. And then the last thing is the Ascent Project. We have had one of our middle school students that we recommended, parents decided not to move forward with it. And they have since decided to move forward. So we've been able to transition our first new student in. And we've had a lot of conversations, and we have a student at Skank who is a ninth grader that we have had discussions of being able to allow Skank students to come in. So we have worked that out. The student came today, took a tour. So now it was just Medway and Millinocket who was doing the Ascent project, but since then there'll be some MOUs for possible East students. So we've worked out credits, we've worked out all kinds of different things of how we can offer that if they're still eligible for region with the new program that's being offered next year and all that. The other interesting fact with Shelley stating with all of the discussions about credits is that our credits aren't the same as the credits at Skank. So they have to have 28 to graduate. So part of the discussion was if they do this program, will it put them behind? So then they won't be able to then transition back in order to have enough credits. So we've had to work out like all types of different things, but it is working out. So that's great. So they're partnering with us on that. So that's it as far as partnerships.
Okay, Jen.
There's always so much data in Jansen. It makes me so happy. Thank you.
Jared Robbins, Technology Director report.
Hello, it's gonna be a shorter report. The first one is the biggest one, so I upgraded the library computer to a modern system, kept turning off. Seems like little nuanced things, but in doing so, I also just spent 2.5 hours on a service call. Completely reinstalling our library software, which is Atrium, to the 21st century. I didn't know it was so out of date. We constantly got emails, and so that's all updated now. We have a brand new or upgraded library system along with a new computer, the Intel Nook. That's the biggest one. An update on Bullet 3, which was the physical network rework. Because of my scheduled absence at the beginning of next year, that's not looking like it's going to be feasible for this summer. So I'm in contact with the same gentleman. We're gonna try and plan ahead to get that done on time next year for the next E-rate cycle. So we can still get the 80% discount on that. I don't know, day-to-day stuff. Tickets don't usually last more than a week with me, so I haven't heard a lot of bad things. I'm trying to knock things out. I am able to work from home. I did do some NWEA software updates because Google just deprecated the only way that we did the Chromebook NWA testing. So got that all figured out, which is kind of nice. So we won't have to worry about that for multiple years. Any questions? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Nikki.
Well, my biggest news is that we now have our audit date. It's November 17th to the 21st. We're about a month behind from last year, but they've been super busy, and I've started uploading all the documents and I am ready. So hope this will go smooth and well. Our budget update is that we've expended 15.38% or $1.3 million between July and the end of September. And that's all I have for you guys. We're working really hard to get the audit ready, so.
Questions for Ron? Thank you, Ron. Superintendent report.
Considering it's getting late, and I've already talked a lot, I'll breeze through a couple of things. I'd mentioned earlier tonight that there was a Penquist meeting a couple of weeks ago. Some of these things that we've talked about tonight, particularly with a lot of the change of law, are the things that they're discussing. And I think the pertinent point there is it doesn't matter if you're in rural Millinocket or if you're in so-called, urban Bangor, we're still all kind of dealing with similar things. Went to a meeting on Friday called the Convening of the Conveners. Was invited to go, and Katie D and Sue Buzzle were going to attend with me. There was going to be the three of us. They ended up not being able to go at the last minute. but it was interesting. It was at the golf course. There were about 35 people and they were all the way from Madawaska to Eastport, Machias area. And they were organizations that support kids and families. And I have to admit, I had no idea that Maine had that many organizations because it was only like half the state, right? It wasn't, and these are all regional meetings. So there were 3 more regional meetings. And there are so many organizations that support kids and families, which was interesting to me because I feel like schools are more and more supporting kids and families. We say it all the time. We do breakfast, we do lunch, we do ski pants if kiddos need it, give transportation, do social working, all of those things that the school has become more and more involved in the day-to-day of supporting kids and families, and even adding 3 and 4-year-olds. So to have what the school does and then see all the other organizations out there is a pretty impressive network of people who are supporting our families. I was gonna mention audit date, that's been said. Our quarterly meeting with the town council has been set. So we'll be taking the narrative for what's been happening from July until current. It's their quarterlies. We're running a little bit late because of scheduling because of elections. The council meets on different days in that month, so we're a little bit off with that. Don't forget, meet the candidates night in Millinocket at the library. You can join by a Zoom link. I also wanted to mention the same thing that I think Mia mentioned out with the grants. If I can see this really small type, the federal government on 10/3, so a little bit ago, announced that even with the shutdown, that the federal grant management system remains operational and available to Maine Department of Education programs. And they will be supporting the grant award notifications and request reimbursements. Therefore, the federal grant funded programs should be operating as usual. So that's all of our Title 1, 2, 5. Also, Mia's was on here for that. Also, IDEA, Individuals with Disabilities and Education Act. So both elementary and secondary, that funding remains in place. Child nutrition, and then also on here was, while funding remains available, most federal staff members have been furloughed and therefore are unavailable to respond to requests for technical assistance. So far that hasn't created any problems for us, but the one call that we have made down was funneled through the DOE and they managed it through their tech support. So even though the shutdown is here and we're experiencing it, it doesn't seem to have as much of a negative effect on us as we're glad it doesn't have a negative effect on us. And that's it.
All right. Any questions? Thank you, Dr. Lane.
You're welcome.
Okay, I need a motion to go into executive session, and there'll be no outcome from this executive session.
Make a motion to enter an executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 405-6A, duties of employee with Rhonda Caton.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
I forgot to mention that this week, our FS
Bye, God.
year 26.